Our people Krishna Prakaria Sasata Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Ho Vishnupada Paramamsa Prakaria Sasata Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nati Goshi Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namatar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Krishna Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadhar Sri Bhakti Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Gauram Ki Jai. Vardama Dhamma Ki Jai. Mathura Dhamma Ki Jai. Navadvipa Dhamma Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dhamma Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Young Maya Ki Jai. Jagamaya Ki Jai. Samvata Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. All glory to the Sambal devotees. All glory to Sambal devotees. All glory to some devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Okay, guys.
Namaste, Namaste, Haya. Namaste, Namaste, Haya. La 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 la. no, someone lost my place. Oh no. I can't believe they keep doing this to me.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
We
Krishna.
were on what, chapter 10 last night?
Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna. It's going to be, well, in my book, it's going to be up on page 543, but we're going to start page 1 for the introduction prayer. Page 1, introduction prayer. Om Ajanya Tramadasya Gyana Jnana Shalakya Chakramavitanyana Tasme Sugurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Monobishtam Sapitam Yena Putale Swayam Rupam Karamayam Datati Swapatikam Vandeham Shiguru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guna Vaishnavscha Shri Rupa Sagradetam Sahagana Raghunanavitam Sajivam Savetam Sadhutam Pariyajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishkashkasvintacha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bando Jilapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapa Kanchana Garangi Radhe Vendasvasvare Vispanu Sute Deve Parmamani Hare Priye Pancha Kapaturiya Pascha Kripa Sindhuesascha Patitanam Panambaya Vaishnava Vaino Namo Naha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadhar Shri Vasti Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who was established within this material world, the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunatha Dasa and Raghunatha Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Avedita Acharya. Gadhar, Srivasa, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to the Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. Oh, my dear Krishna, you're the friend of the distress and the source of creation. You're the master of the gopis and the love of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I offer my respectful respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of the king of Vishbanu, and you are very dear to the Lord Krishna. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. I offer my obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadhar, Srivasa, and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna. So we were on chapter 11, Universal Form. Starting at text 5, we'll do 11 verses, Sanskrit and translation and purport. That way we hear the entire Bhagavad Gita in 3 months' time. Text 5. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Pashyama Patta Rupani Tassota Sassasa Nana Vidani Vivani Nana Varnakritinicha. The Blessed Lord said, My dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, behold now my opulence, hundreds of thousands of very divine forms, multicolored like the sea. Text 6. Pashyadityatyam Vasnu Rudran Ashvino Marutas Tata Baununi Adjistya Purvani Pashyacharyanani Bharata. Translation. Oh, best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of the Adityas, Rudras, and all the demigods. Behold the many things which no one has ever seen or heard before. Text 7. Ihakatastam jagat Krishtanam Pashyatya Sakcharacharam Mama Dehe Gudatesha Yakchantya Durjas Ichyatsi. Translation. Whatever you wish to see can be seen all at once in this body. This universal form can show you all that you now desire, as well as whatever you may desire in the future. Everything is here completely. Text 8. Natu mam segyaksi durastum anena veya swachaksusha divyam dattami te chakshum pasya me yogam ashvaram. Translation. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give to you divine eyes by which you can behold my mystic opulence. Text 9. Sanjaya vacha evam ukva tatta rajan mahayogeshvara hari darashyamasya parata paramam rupam ashvaram. Sanjaya said, O king, speaking thus, the Supreme, the Lord of all mystic power, the personality Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Text 10 and 11. Anika Vaktra Nayanam, Anika Bhuta Darshanam, Anika Devaya Paranam, Divyan Niko Dayat Yudaham, Divya Malyam Bharadaram, Divya Gandanulipanam, Sarvascharya Mayam Devam Anattam Vishvato Mukham. Whew, that's a tough one. Translation. Arjuna said that in that universal form, unlimited mouths and unlimited eyes, it was all wondrous. The form was decorated with divine, dazzling ornaments and arrayed with many garbs. He was garlanded gorgeously, and there were many scents smeared over his body. All was magnificent, all expanding, unlimited. This was seen by Arjuna. Text 12. Divi Surya Chahasrasya Bhavid Yuga Pada Utita Yadi Basat Shri Sasyad Pasyastasya Mahatmana. Translation. If hundreds of thousands of suns rose up at once into the sky, they might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. Text 13. Tatrai kaitshatam jagat krishnanam pavin bhaktat enikatha asya deva devasya saidari pandavastara. At that time, Arjuna could see the universal form of the Lord, the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Text 14. Tatta sa vishmaya vishito hista roma dananyajaya prayanamya shirasya devam kitanjalir abhashyata. Translation. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna began to pray with folded hands, offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Our final text this evening, text 15. Arjuna vacha pashyami devam stava deva dehe sarvam tata bhuta vishesha sangahan Brahmanam isham kamlam sasnat sitam Vishmi cha sarva urakam cha devyan. Translation. Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and many sages and divine serpents. Hare Krishna. Turning to text 4. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that universal self. Purport. It is said that one can neither see, hear, understand, nor perceive the Supreme Lord, Krishna, by the material senses. If one is engaged in loving transcendental service to the Lord from the beginning, then one can see the Lord by revelation. Every living entity is only a spiritual spark. Therefore, it is not possible to see or to understand the Supreme Lord. Arjuna, as a devotee, does not depend on his speculative strength. Rather, he admits his limitations as a living entity and acknowledges Krishna's inestimable position. Arjuna could understand that for a living entity, it is not possible to understand the unlimited infinite. If the infinite reveals himself, then it is possible to understand the nature of the infinite by the grace of the infinite. The word Yogeshwara is also very significant here because the Lord has inconceivable power. If he likes, he can reveal himself by his grace. Although he is unlimited, therefore Arjuna pleads for the inconceivable grace of Krishna. He does not give Krishna orders. Krishna is not obliged to reveal himself to anyone unless one surrenders fully in Krishna consciousness and engages in devotional service. Thus, it is not possible for a person who depends on the strength of their mental speculation to see Krishna. Hare Krishna. Text 5. Translation. The blessed Lord said, my dear Arjuna, O son Pritha, behold now my opulences, hundreds and thousands of varied divine forms, multicolored like the sea. Purport. Arjuna wanted to see Krishna in his universal form, which, although a transcendental form, is just manifested for the cosmic manifestation and is therefore subject to the temporary time of this material nature. As the material nature is manifested and not manifested, similarly, this universal form of Krishna is manifested and unmanifested. It is not eternally situated in the spiritual sky like Krishna's other forms. As far as a devotee is concerned, he is not eager to see the universal form. But because Arjuna wanted to see Krishna in this way, Krishna reveals this form. This universal form is not possible to be seen by any ordinary man. Krishna must give one the power to see it. Text 6. Translation. O best of the Bhartas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Rudras, and the demigods. Behold the many things which no one has ever seen or heard before. Purport. Even though Arjuna was a personal friend of Krishna and the most advanced of learned men, it was still not possible for him to know everything about Krishna. Here is stated that humans have neither heard nor known of all these forms in manifestation. Now Krishna reveals these wonderful forms. Imagine that. You just, all these forms that he's revealing all at once. Everything that you've desired and your future desires, it's all there. It's being revealed all at once. All the demigods are in this form. And it's been saying it's great. It was a greater effulgence than 1,000 suns. That must have been, always for me, that's kind of a mind trip for me, because Arjuna was Krishna's friend. He was like they were best friends. And it's at this time on the battlefield that Arjuna is just now realizing, oh, gee, my best friend, wait, you're God? Oh, Hare Krishna. All these offenses I've committed in front of you. Oh, man, can you imagine that? Your best friend, all of a sudden you realizing they're the supreme God of the universe and they're showing their universal form? Oh, Hare Krishna. Ooh, that must have been a mind job. Oh, text 7. Whatever you wish to see can be seen all at once in this body. This universal form can show you all that you now desire, as well as whatever you may desire in the future. Everything is here completely. Purport. No one can see the entire universe sitting in one place. Even the most advanced scientists cannot see what is going on in other parts of the universe. Krishna gives himself the power to see anything he wants to see, past, present, and future. Thus, by the mercy of Krishna, Arjuna is able to see everything. Wow. That must have been mind-blowing. Just be able to see everything at once. If Maharaj, if you're listening, we'd always like to hear any words of wisdom, especially on the universal form. Next text, translation, text 8. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give to you divine eyes by which you can behold my mystic opulence. Purport. A pure devotee does not like to see Krishna in any form except his form with 2 hands. The devotee must see his universal form by his grace, not with the mind, but with spiritual eyes. To see the universal form of Krishna, Arjuna is told not to change his mind, but his vision. The universal form of Krishna is not very important. That will be clear in the verses. Yet, because Arjuna wanted to see it, the Lord gives him the particular vision required to see that universal form. Devotees who are correctly situated in transcendental relationship with Krishna are attracted by loving features, not by a godless display of opulences. The playmates of Krishna, the friends of Krishna, and the parents of Krishna never want Krishna to show his opulences. They are so immersed in pure love that they do not even know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In their loving exchange, they forget that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the boys who play with Krishna are all highly pious souls. And after many, many births, they are able to play with Krishna. Gornitai ki jai. Such boys do not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality Godhead. They take him as a personal friend. The Supreme Person is considered as the impersonal Brahman by great sages, as the Supreme Personality Godhead by the devotees, and the product of this material nature by ordinary men. The fact is that the devotee is not concerned to see the Vishvarupa, the universal form. Arjuna wanted to see it to substantiate Krishna's statement so that in the future people could understand that Krishna is not only theoretically or philosophically presented himself as a supreme person, but actually presented himself as such to Arjuna. Arjuna must confirm this because Arjuna is the beginning of the Parampara system. Those who are actually interested to understand the Supreme Personality Godhead Krishna and who follow in the footsteps of Arjuna should understand that Krishna has not only theoretically presented himself as the Supreme, but actually revealed himself as the Supreme. The Lord gave Arjuna the necessary power to see his universal form because he knew that Arjuna did not particularly want to see it, as we have already explained. Hare Krishna. Text 9. Sanjaya said, O king, speaking thus, the Supreme, the Lord of all mystics, power, the personality Godhead displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths and unlimited eyes. It was all wondrous. The form was decorated with divine, dazzling ornaments and arrayed in many garbs. He was garlanded gorgeously, and there were many scents smeared over his body. All was magnificent, all expanding, unlimited. This was seen by Arjuna. Purport. These two verses indicate that there is no limit to the hands, mouths, legs, etc. of the Lord. These manifestations are distributed throughout the universe and are unlimited. By the grace of the Lord, Arjuna could see them while sitting in one place. That is due to the inconceivable potency of Krishna. Text 12. If hundreds of thousands of suns rose up at once into the sky, they might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. Purport. What Arjuna saw was indescribable, yet Sanjaya is trying to give a mental picture to that great revelation to Dhritarashtra. Neither Sanjaya nor Dhritarashtra were present, but Sanjaya, by the grace of Vyasa, could see whatever happened. Thus, he now compares the situation as far as it can be understood to an imaginable phenomenon, i.e., thousands of suns. Yeah, Sanjaya is explaining all this to Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra, if remember correctly, Dhritarashtra was blind. So, I mean, trying to explain things to a blind man. Wasn't he blind from birth, if I remember correctly? So that makes it even more complicated, trying to describe something that a blind man has never seen. That's kind of mind-blowing for me. Like how can you describe things to a blind man that they have never seen? Like how do you describe a flower to someone who's never seen a flower? Yeah. But it's kind of messes with my mind think about that. It's like learning about like Helen Keller. She was born both blind and deaf. Man, that must have been a mind job. Trying to you know understand the world around you and communicate with people around you. Yeah. Okay. Text 13. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Purport. The word tatra there is very significant. It indicates that both Arjuna and Krishna were sitting on the chariot when Arjuna saw the universal form. Others on the battlefield could not see this form because Krishna gave the vision only to Arjuna. Arjuna could see the body of Krishna, many thousands of universes. As we learn from the Vedic scriptures, there are many universes and many planets. Some are made of earth, some are made of gold, some are made of jewels, some are very great, some are not so great, etc. Sitting on his chariot, Arjuna could see all these universes, but not but no one could understand what was going on between Arjuna and Krishna. That must have been a trip. So yeah, I remember I like science. And I love, when they, take pictures of galaxies in the universe, but they pointed the Hubble telescope to the darkest place in the galaxy that they could find. And they took a long shot of it. It's to the darkest place. They didn't think there was anything there. And what was revealed was millions and billions of more galaxies out there. That's kind of what brings me to mind when Arjuna is, looking at Krishna and seeing all these universes and all these expansions and all these things just coming on out. Ooh. Text 14. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna began to pray with folded hands, offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Purport. Once the divine vision is revealed, the relationship between Krishna and Arjuna changes immediately. Before, Krishna and Arjuna had a relationship based on friendship, but here, after the revelation, Arjuna is offering obeisances with great respect, and with folded hands, he is praying to Krishna. He is praising the universal form. Thus, Arjuna's relationship becomes one of wonder rather than friendship. Great devotees see Krishna as the reservoir of all relationships. In the scriptures, there are 12 basic kinds of relationships mentioned, and all of them are present in Krishna. It is said that he is the ocean of all the relationships exchanged between two living entities, between the gods or between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. It said that Arjuna was inspired by the relationship of wonder, and in that wonder, although he was by nature very sober, calm, and quiet, he became ecstatic. His hair stood on end. His hair stood up and began to offer his obeisances unto the Supreme Lord with folded hands. He was not, of course, afraid. He was affected by the wonders of the Supreme Lord. The immediate context is wonder. His natural loving friendship was overwhelmed by wonder, and thus he reacted in this way. Text 15. Arjuna said, "My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva, and many sages and divine serpents. Arjuna sees everything in the universe. Therefore, he sees Brahma, who is the first creature in the universe, and the celestial serpent upon the Garbadas, Garbadas Dakashi. Yes, that lies in the lower regions of the universe. The snake is bed. This snake bed is called Vasuki. There are also other snakes known as Vasuki. Arjuna can see from the Gabada Kashi. I just can't pronounce it today. Huh? Okay. Gar, Gar, Bo, Da, Ga, Cha, Yi. Vishnu. Vishnu. Up to the topmost part of the universe resides. That means that from the beginning to the end, everything could be seen by Arjuna sitting in one place on his chariot. This was possible by the grace of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna. Oh, I like to let the purports do the talking because I am such an ignorant fool when it comes to the universal form of the Lord. I have no idea. I have no clue. Anybody have any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu.
I'll just mention some of the things that stood out to me that we read about. So at the beginning of this section, I put the universal form behind your head, by the way. So we're associating with the universal form. So yeah, one of the things that really stood out to me was that Arjuna pleads for the inconceivable grace of Krishna. And I thought that was very nice that, as you mentioned many times again and again, we have to beg Krishna for the mercy because he's a person and we're very minute and our potencies are limited. It goes without saying to the introspective person that our potencies are limited. But Krishna, the unlimited, he has inconceivable potencies and he also has inconceivable grace. Means he can allow us to do things which are inconceivable, like understand an inconceivable form. And, that was one of the things that stood out to me.
That's very nice. Trying to think of anything I can add to this. Kind of speechless. Yes, Prabhu. If you like.
So then I also like this point that by revelation. So this concept of revelation, obviously from the Christian background, there's a whole chapter and it's quite, awe-inspiring, this revelation. I'm not too learned in it, but the concept of revelation means that something outside of my power comes into my awareness. It becomes revealed. So then that's the point that is being stressed here, is that only with the eyes that Krishna can bestow upon Arjuna can one actually perceive this form. And there are actually instructions in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and you could say derivative instructions in other traditions where one tries to meditate on the universal form of the Lord. That's actually a bona fide process, because Shukadeva Goswami actually describes it a few times in Bhagavatam, but it's for the beginner, which Prabhupada eventually makes sure to remind us in the purports that the devotee is interested in the loving features of Krishna, the loving features, not the what he calls in very strong language here. He says the godless display of opulences, and so this form is obviously incredible, and the devotee that drew this had some empowerment to be able to actually draw this, and it was so attractive. Of course, devotees have been drawing the universal form for many thousands of years, or even before that, but it was so captivating that one famous musician actually took the photo and put his face on Krishna's face. And he made an album with that photograph. And this is actually the epitome of materialistic consciousness. It's not different than just the guy down the street who wants to be the biggest guy on the block. It's the same, but it becomes philosophical. So Prabhupada many times he discusses how the impersonalists who want to actually merge with Brahman or merge with Krishna and actually assume or claim to have assumed the identity as the source of the universal form. That's what they're trying to do. Why? Because they're obsessed with opulences, just like everybody else. Everybody wants to get jewels and power and beauty and knowledge and so many things. That's not uncommon. But the one who is actually the most covered by Maya, or you could say the last snare of Maya, is one who decides out of frustration to abandon the karmic path to become the richest and assume the philosophical path, whereby with some mental speculation or jugglery, he actually thinks that he is the source of the universal form. And then obviously Prabhupada makes sure to remind us that because Arjuna is not such a person, he's actually a devotee of Krishna. Then what does he want? He's not trying to see the universal form for his own pleasure. He's trying to make sure that Krishna shows the universal form so nobody can claim to be Krishna until they show the universal form.
Yes, that's true. So, like anyone who's claiming to be God, show the universal form. Go ahead.
You get this intent of magical manifestation, even if it wasn't consciously done, subconsciously it was done. And what this adds up to is this person, yeah, they might have been trying to make themselves a god, but in doing so, they may have made themselves a piece or a part of Krishna in manifestation. Which then, unfortunately, when you do something like that, you open a door. And when you open that door, you're going to get covered in all your sins and karma and demons and whatever. And the purpose of that manifestation is to hand you everything that's wrong with you so you can overcome it rapidly. And then you actually have inherently become a piece and a part of Krishna by overriding all that karma, all that dharma. So,
Yeah, we are all parts and parcels of Krishna. That's one thing about it. And that's the thing. We can't have a relationship with the universal form. That's why he has provided a relationship with all of his other forms, whether it be a form of a child, form of a parent, form of a friend. Krishna wants this relationship with us. He's given us so many different ways to have a relationship with him, even as a lover or even as an enemy. I mean, there's great stories of the Suras, that couldn't stop thinking about Krishna because they just hated him so much. And when Krishna, fought them and killed them, and boom, they were liberated. That's kind of crazy. It's just Krishna's mercy just knows no bounds. There's some people have a concept that God is terrifying, and he's going to condemn you to everlasting torture and hell if you don't believe in him. That's not an all merciful, all loving God. Krishna gives us that opportunity, in this material world. There's suffering here, a lot of suffering here. But at the same time, we still get little bits of joy and whatnot. But there's an escape route. There's a way back to him. It's not a closed door. And he continually provides all kinds of ways for us to surrender to him and have a relationship with him. Here, Arjuna, his relationship with him was as a friend. Here they're together in battle. In previous times they were wrestling together. They were playing together as friends. They're having dinner together as friends. It's Krishna wants a relationship with us because we're all parts and parcels of him. He wants all of us back, joined with him to serve him as to serve the Supreme as a whole. Any other questions or comments? Just got about 6 minutes.
one of the things that brought me to this temple was a Hindu friend started giving me ideas of what to look into here. And I stumbled across a picture of Brahma or Brahman. And my brain could not compute this picture to the point that it made me sick. And I began to realize that this wasn't a normal, 100% normal reaction. And I began to understand very quickly. It would take about 2 or 3 days for me to understand what was happening. But essentially, I must have lived in some past life where I refused to recognize his true form. And so here it's almost punishing for me to try and acknowledge and see his true form. And so that's one of the things that brought me to this temple, is I know that was a true reaction, and my gut never lies.
Well, that's the thing, generally what brings people through these doors is because there's a kind of realization that they've had so many past lives, that they've done this before. It's Krishna's arrangement. Each and every person that walks through these doorways, it's been arranged by Krishna for them to come. It's part of his divine plan. That's why we always try to treat each guest with special care. Because Krishna invited them here. Krishna has invited each and every one of us here. We wouldn't be able to be walk through these temple doors without Krishna's grace, without his mercy. There's so many people that we come across in this material world that depending on karma and whatnot, they're just not ready to surrender. They're so far from surrendering. They're repelled by the Maha Mantra. They're repelled from our singing. They don't want to hear it. They're perfectly content with eating their hamburger and enjoying their enjoying their football, season. Yeah. It's like I was talking about in class earlier today. Raising pets. I had a dog that was continually going into the cat's litter box and eating the cat's poop. And it's like, no matter how you try to explain to the dog, that is nasty, that is terrible, don't do it. The dog is thinking, oh, I better be more sneaky because I love the taste of it. Yeah. But that's kind of how you have to look at it in this world when so many people are just so addicted to their sense pleasures, and they are not realizing that they're basically creating their own suffering. They're creating their own hellish condition by chasing after these temporary temporary happiness. I think that's our time for today. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Oh, we could set you up with one of these books. Oh, yes. How much is these? You want the hardback